and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about the standing glute stretch. This is an incredible stretch for your glutes, obviously, and I highly recommend you guys do it, especially if you have trouble getting down and up off the floor. Lastly, at the end of the video, we're going to be talking about some of the common mistakes that I want you guys to avoid. That way you can get the most out of this exercise and do it safely. So the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you have the area that the glute that you want to stretch, you want that leg up. And then you want to make sure you're hanging on to a pole. I'll make it pretend I'm hanging on here because based on the angle, whatever, I couldn't grab onto anything. But you just want to make sure you're hanging on to something. Don't try to do this freehand like I'm doing here. And then what you want to do is also make sure that you keep that leg above the knee. But before we continue with more tips, here's a word from today's video sponsor.
I'm today's video sponsor, and if you'd like help losing fat or gaining muscle, there are a few ways I can help you down below. Either set up a free consultation with us, purchase through one of our free affiliate links, or purchase one of our instant access affordable training programs. Can't wait to be of service to you. Now let's get back to the rest of the video.
So like I said, you want to make sure that the area and glute that you're trying to stretch is up and that the actual ankle is above the knee. That's the only way you're really going to get to feel this stretch properly. If you have it below the knee, you're not going to feel the stretch. It's actually be harder to maintain this position. And then what you also want to make sure you're doing is that you're actually bending forward. You don't want to be sitting up completely straight or standing up completely straight, because then you're not going to be able to feel this in the glute. And it also makes it very hard to keep your balance. Even if you're hanging on to something, it's better to just bend forward slightly, and what that's going to do is going to stretch the lower back a little bit as well. So that's what I recommend you guys do to do this exercise right. Now, what I recommend is that you hold this for approximately 20 seconds and then slowly start to increase the amount of time that you hold it for, and then obviously switch sides and keep doing that. One key thing that I want you guys to make sure that you're focusing on is actually arching the lower back when you do this. As you're bending over, don't try not to like round your lower back. Actually think about arching it slightly, and trust me, you're going to feel an incredible stretch in the glutes. And this is just a small tweak. You can't even really tell I'm even doing it here, but that's what you want to be focusing on. It's like when you're stretching your hamstrings, you want to actually create a anterior pelvic tilt. That way you can actually stretch that hamstring. Same thing goes for the glutes here. Like in the posterior chain there, you want to make sure that you're focusing on doing those main things, like arching the lower back. That way you can stretch those areas a lot more efficiently without having to go through such a ridiculous range of motion. Another key thing that I want you guys to focus on is making sure that you keep your core tight and that you keep your chin down. So you don't want to be looking up when you're doing this, because you're going to lose your balance. Make sure that you look down, and that make sure that you're actually focusing on one thing in front of you instead of many things, because that's what's going to help you keep your balance as well. Now, here's some common mistakes. There's not many, but there's a few. First one, like I said, is to keep your ankle underneath the knee. This will not work, and you will not feel the stretch. Another thing, like I said, you don't want to be standing straight up. You want to be bending over slightly. And then lastly, you don't want to be low, ankle over ankle.